then by 1:15 p.m., the timing advanced data showed his device in an area close to the Turnberry location. And this is all the timing advanced data that I had to look at from 1:15 p.m. to 1:34 p.m. and it's showing general measurements in that area. You will see, in this case, and you see it in some of the other records too, where it looks like it's CSLI. This is not. This is where the measurement wasn't complete to where it got the full information that it needed to judge how far out in the sector it was. So this gives us a valid sector for that measure.
We've been talking about TAMI advanced data. Could we move to CSLI data?
Yes, so we will now look at, I looked at his CSLI and he had no data, there was no data in the records for the time period of the homicide or leading up to it. And these are after.
Okay.
But there were 5 phone calls after everything was known to be over with. And the 5 phone calls from 2 p.m. to 2:32 p.m. These are 5 phone calls between the device I understood to be associated with Mr. Hewley and the device I understood to be associated with Mr. Collins. And it's registering a tower in a sector here. The details about where that is here in the call-out box, but it's in an area that could be consistent with covering both of their residents, as well as the Turnberry location. So we have Mr. Hewley's residence here, very close to the tower and sector, and Mr. Collins's residence here.
Let's talk about the data sessions.
So we did have a couple data sessions where the network registered the device using something that required data.
Could you give us an example of that?
Well, if I turned on my phone now and I went to my YouTube application and started watching a video, it would register something.
Okay, thank you.
So we see the data session here where we've gone back in time. I've taken you all through the CSLI. Now we're going to look at the data from 11:56 to 11:59 a.m. It registered a tower in a sector here in the Peachtree Corners area south of the QT. So by 12:39, there was a session here at 12:39, and it's registering a tower in a sector that could be associated with the QT, the coverage area for the QT, if the device was there. And from 12:44 to 12:46, there was 2 data sessions that registered a tower in a sector here, closely associated with the area around, generally around 285. So the previous session was northeast up here, closer to the QT. This session is now registered southwest of there.
Let's move to the next phone.
And the final phone that I looked at records for was the 470-839-1041 number that I understood associated with Ms. Jeremiah Pleasure. Let me back up a bit. And for her device, we will have CSLI and timing advanced data. So the data that I had to look at for hers was related to the phone calls between herself and Mr. Collins, and those phone calls all registered her device being here in an area around, this is Morrow here, north, east. This is Stockbridge in this area, so it's clearly southwest of the area where his device would have been.
Right.
And then after that time period, from 1:13 p.m. to 1:30 p.m., I saw the device begin moving away from that area, and it moved east towards Turnberry. Up until 1:31 p.m. here, this is demonstrating this measurement showing a measurement for the device that could be consistent with the at or about Turnberry place.
Thank you, sir. You can grab a seat. Mr. Wilbanks, that's all I have.
Okay, thank you.
Investigator Wilbanks, good afternoon.
How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Obviously, we've known each other for years, but if I happen to ask a question, it probably won't be, I will ask a question you don't understand. It'll probably be an unartful question that can probably be phrased in a different way. So you just let me know, and I'll try to phrase it in a way the jury can understand. I'm going to ask you to use the slides again. Most of my questions relate to the slides, so I'm going to ask
Okay.
you, and you have control of the slide up there, right?
Well, I don't know that well, yes, I can back it up, I think.
Yeah, I'd like to go back to number one. It doesn't have an automatic reset. We gotta. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. It's sort of like the Blockbuster. You gotta rewind. Very good. Going back to number one. Okay, good. So can we go back to Booker's slide number one? And that's the locked Loctivore. You're saying the B like a V. Loctivore. Okay, good. The initial diagram. I saw this the first one. Okay, good. There we go. Now, is this AT&T? Who is this?
This is AT&T.
AT&T. AT&T says this is what?
AT&T has measured this location and said, this is the location in the records from them that they have made an estimation on based on their measurement.
Okay.
And they said, here's a distance out of 1,000 meters. So they're saying it could be 1,000 meters or it could be beyond that, but this is the depiction based on that 1,000-meter reference in the records and that location.
Okay, so when we say 1,000 meters, do we mean the radius is 1,000 meters then?
Right.
Okay.
Radius out from that center point.
From that center point. So it could be here,
Could be.
or it could be here also.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and that distance would be longer than 1,000 meters, is that right?
It wouldn't be longer than 1,000 meters from the center, from the latitude and longitude that they measured, but those two measurements, you indicating one north and west and south and east, if you measured that, that would be closer to maybe 2,000 meters.
I got you. 2,000 meters. Now, forgive me, put that in football field length for me. What is 1,000 meters?
Well, roughly, to try to convert it to English measurement, roughly 3 feet per meter. It's not exactly, but
So that'd be 1,000 meters would be 3,000 feet?
that's a rough estimate without me breaking out the calculator.
Okay, I got you. All right. Next diagram. Now, hold on. This is David Booker's phone in and around the Texaco at 1:16, about 1:16 a.m. Is that right?
116 and 143 was his measurement.
Okay. Well, see, I thought you said that 143 it would have been up there.
But that's correct. That's correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, yeah, I was just referring to this one for now.
Correct.
Okay, good. So when we get up here, we're talking about 1:43 a.m. Is that right?
Right.
Okay, good. Next slide.
And so for the ninth, this is the now cell site location information, not the local anymore.
I got you. Cell site information for David Booker at 12:49 a.m. Right?
Right.
Okay. Now I understand that this is where the Texaco is, and this is where is it AT&T? This is where they believe his phone might be. That's the cell tower it's hitting off of. Is that right?
Right. It's communicating for this call through this tower in sector.
Okay. Phone call, not text.
Correct.
Okay, not accessing YouTube, but a phone call.
Correct.
Is that right? Okay, good. Just let me borrow this 1 second. So what's this distance from the center to the edge there? Is that 3 miles?
Yes.
Okay, good. So when the jury's looking at it and it looks bigger than that, it's only because of the size of the geographical areas covering. Anytime the jury looks at this, can they rely on this point here to the edge being 3 miles?
Yes. And,
Okay.
And to be clear about that, it could be much closer to the tower than that, or it could be further from the tower than that. I would have to look at the available towers in that area to make a better assessment about it. But I use the standard 3 miles so that you can know there's consistency. Every time you look at it, just know that that measurement is a 3 mile measurement.
Okay, so even if that triangle gets bigger or smaller, we're talking about 3 miles.
Right.
Fantastic, with the
CSLI information, is that right? Okay, the next,
Now, this is the only one that's different than that, because this communication here is through that radio access on this telephone pole here in downtown Atlanta. So this one is measured in hundreds of meters versus miles.
I got you. Go back to the prior one. I believe your testimony was that at somewhere around 12:49 that my client, David Booker, called Miles Collins. Do you recall testifying to that?
Yes, this is an outgoing phone call from the number associated with David Booker to Miles Collins.
Okay, good. Not a text, but a call.
A call. I only did mapping, so I didn't look at text.
And that's fine. And I thought your testimony was when you had Hughley's phone up, that Hughley was not in the area of the Texaco. Do you recall that testimony?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead.
If he was with his device, he couldn't have been there.
Okay, so if I understand you correctly, at 12:50 near the Texaco on July 9, 2022, David Booker is by himself.
Well,
Pause.
He's not with Hughley and he's not
With Miles Collins, is that fair to say?
I believe the records show he's not with Hewley. And you would, through inference, say he's likely not with Miles Collins.
Since he's making a call
Calling.
and not texting.
Right.
Okay, good. All right. On to the small diagram. I'm sorry, the small tower. That's the next one. Is that right?
Right. So this is the only tower like this in the records that I mapped.
Okay, and that distance from
I set it at 200 meters. It could be outside of that. These towers are
600, so that's 600 feet by our rough estimate. I know that's definitely less than a football field. That's probably less than half a football field. Is that right?
right. So,
Right.
But again, I don't know exactly. I just know that it's closer likely than a mile within that area.
Well, you say a mile, but I want to make sure, I want to try to get this thing as tight as possible. If I understand this diagram that the jury's looking at now, we got a half a football field between where we believe David Booker is and Texaco. Is that fair to say?
I'm not going to measure half of football fields. What I would say is that these type of towers measure mostly in hundreds of meters, not miles. So
I got you.
It's not like the macro towers that we've looked at in the other records.
I got you, but do they differ in their coverage?
Yes,
Okay,
very much.
So one tower might cover one block, one tower might cover 4 or 5 blocks.
Right, it would depend on how AT&T built the network and what that tower could do in that area. So if there's a lot of tall buildings in that area, you may need one on every corner to get the signal in and out because of all the infrastructure and the buildings and so forth. So,
Okay, well, there's a picture of a tower. I'm assuming this is the exact tower at
It
that
is.
area.
It
Okay.
is.
So we can see in the picture, in the background of the picture, there appears to be like a 6-story building. Is that right?
right, there are tall buildings around the area.
Okay, and so you went there and took the picture, correct?
I went there, yes.
So
I wanted to be certain about it. That's the reason I went there.
I got you. So based on your experience, sort of how the number of buildings near the tower and the height of the buildings near the tower, would you believe that this cell tower handles 1 block, 5 blocks? What would you estimate based on your knowledge and your experience of AT&T? This is a tower that would go out a block or 5 blocks or 10 blocks. What would your estimate be?
I mean, I gave you my best visual estimation of what I thought it would do. Like I say, if you're on a straight path here, it could be down further.
I got you.
But, it's a short tower, it's not very tall, and, there's gotta be that direct radio wave communication between the tower and the device. So, again, with the tall buildings in the area, it's not going out crazy far.
I got you. Next slide, please. So this is 10:07 a.m. through 11:20 a.m. on July 10th, 2022. So this would be prior to the homicide, is that right?
Correct.
And I thought your testimony was at 11:20 a.m., that represented the last time that David Booker made a call, is that right?
No, sir, this is the loc-de-bour, so this is that latent activity that's going on, the measurements that are taking place between the network and the device. So there's nothing about the loc-de-bour that's being done affirmatively by a user on the phone. It's just happening in the background.
Okay, so that's the last time that David Booker's phone hits off a cell tower, is that right?
Well, again, keep in mind, loc-de-bour is not tower-based. There's measurements taking place to the towers, but it's giving you AT&T gives us a latitude and longitude, and then a degree of certainty for where it thinks the device could be.
Okay, and so as you look at it, and it plots points at various points in time between 10:07 a.m. and 11:20 a.m., is that right?
Correct.
That's what each of those circles represents, a sort of hit on the phone, is that right?
That's a measurement that AT&T recorded related to the device.
Okay, good. And so as you look at the map, you're thinking this is I-20 to 285? What's the route?
This is clearly I-20 here going in, and yes, it looks like it goes 285 around, and then, it looks like it goes to 85 north and then 285 around right here.
85 north? So it goes, so it's I-20 into the city.
Over to
Into the city.
285 north, then on 285, then to Peachtree. That's what it looks to me like.
I want to understand that route. It's not I-20 to 285, it's I-20 into Atlanta, into the city of Atlanta. Is that right?
Yes, I would
Into the
say
city
so.
of Atlanta. So when we get to the city of Atlanta, I always call it the connector, 75 and 85 mashed together, is that right?
Correct.
So then it appears that David Booker's phone then goes north on 85 or 75?
Well, it's combined right there.
Combined, that's right, it's combined, but when it separates, because by the time we get into North Atlanta and the Chamblee, it's not combined anymore, is it?
Right, yeah. It
By the
appears to
time
be,
we hit Chamblee, where?
by the time we get Chamblee up here.
Yeah, what road is that? There you go, what road is that? That's what I'm trying to understand.
I mean, it could be 8, looks to me like it could be 85. 285.
Okay, you believe it's 85 to 285, is that right? And then once you get to 285, he's heading which way?
141, or it's combined Peachtree Industrial and Peachtree Parkway right there.
I got you. And so the last loc-de-bour that you have for David Booker is 11:20 a.m., is that right?
There's going to be a break in time, and it will pick up again.
Okay, when it picks up again, it's what time?
That's the next slide, at 11:50.
11:50. Okay, that would have still been prior to the homicide, is that right?
Correct.
Okay, good. What's the last loc-de-bour information you have for David Booker prior to the homicide? Is it that 11:50 a.m.?
I'll advance it. It's going to be. So my understanding was the information was at about 12:38 p.m.
That's correct.
And so, by 12:31, it's in that area, and it's there until, it's estimated to be in the general area until about 12:39.
Okay.
Okay, now, this is what I want to understand. How big is this area?
Well, this is like, for example, this was, the AT&T gave us a degree of 1,500 meters and possibly beyond that. But it says, it thinks it's here, but it could be beyond that. This is an estimation.
1,500 meters being about 4,500 feet.
From that center point.
Do the math on that. What is 4,500 feet in miles?
Okay. And of course, this is about
3 or 4 different points on on this one map, is that fair to say?
Right, each of these points at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 measurements. You can see again the latitude, longitude where it thinks it is, which is very close to Peachtree Parkway. That measurement, but it's giving a degree of certainty.
I got you. And
I just got a translation of 4,500 feet being about 0.85 of a mile. Does that sound right to you?
Right.
Okay, so it's under a mile. All this, that's what I want to understand.
Estimation.
Is it an estimate? I got that. From here to here, this makes reference to the same point, right? This point to the end of the circle, is that the 0.85 miles?
Roughly.
Is that right? So
I trust your calculations.
is that right? Okay, good. Okay, that's what I want to understand. I got you. So
it's less than a mile from that center point to the edge. I got that. Okay, next slide.
Okay, so this next slide was that movement away from the key.
Okay, are you able to estimate the same way we did with the last one, what route is being taken? I mean, as you eyeball it, is it local roads or is it major interstate?
To me, it looks like a different route on this 285.
Definitely
way
different.
back.
Y'all are talking over each other, we're lost.
My fault. I understand it's a different route. Are you able to tell the route?
I mean, you can form an opinion based on where you see those dots along that route there. Sure.
If that were a major highway, what would you think it would be?
I would think this area here in the middle is 285.
Okay, next map. Turnberry Place. What's the
significance of the Turnberry Place Stonecrest address? Were you told?
I reviewed reports, and that was a location I reviewed and found a note in the reports.
Okay.
All right. But you don't recall why it was important?
No, I do. I don't know if that's something I can talk about.
I don't know. That's why I'm asking.
I understood that to be associated with the return of a rental vehicle.
Okay, so you understood Turnberry Place to be the return of the E350 Mercedes at issue. Is that right?
Yes, that was my understanding.
Good. That's clarity over everything. Next slide.
Tell me what this slide is.
So this is demonstrating that between 1:37 p.m. and 1:45 p.m., the measurements indicate a movement away from Turnberry Place.
And Turnberry Place that's in DeKalb, is that right?
Yes.
All right, good. You can. I don't know if there's one more, two more till you get to the CSLI data. That's the next thing I want to talk about.
Okay.
12/22 to 12/35 on July 10th, 2022. There's a call
That is made to or by David Booker.
So this
To the
call here is an incoming phone call
Okay.
at 12:22.
Do you know who it's from?
I don't know that number.
Okay.
And it registers with this tower and sector, with the base being here, the base of that tower being here, and the sector being west of the tower. And the next call at 12:23 is an incoming phone call from that same phone number that registered a different tower and a different sector than the previous, sort of going north and east.
But that's not a phone number that was associated with any of the other phones that you examined. Is that fair to say?
Not the parties that I'm mapping, no.
Not the parties. Fantastic. Just let me hold this for a second. And again, that distance there is 3 miles. Is that right? Okay, fantastic. I don't want to sound like a broken record. I just want to get these distances right.
For the jury. That's all the questions that I have, investigator.
Well, thanks. Thank you very much.
Clegg,
Yes, sir.
I represent Mr. Collins, and I need you to go back to where we were. Most of the questions I'm going to ask deal with Mr. Collins, but if you would first go to the slide that shows 1249 for Mr. Booker. There we go. The Texaco is obviously depicted in the middle of that diagram, correct?
That's correct.
And there is a wedge-shaped purple area southwest of the Texaco station, correct?
Yes.
Is that where Mr. Booker's phone would have been at 1249?
Yes.
Okay, and if you could speak up just a tad.
I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you. And if I understand correctly, now if you could go to the 1249 slide for Mr. Collins. Okay, and again, that is well southwest of the Texaco at Lindbergh, correct?
Correct.
Now, if I'm understanding correctly, there was a phone call from either Mr. Collins's phone to Mr. Booker's phone or vice versa, placed at 1249, is that correct?
Yes, it was an outgoing phone call from the Collins phone to the Booker phone at 12:49 a.m.
And are you able to tell us how long that phone call might have lasted?
I'd have to go back and look at the records. I didn't.
But it is reasonable to infer, since one is calling the other on the phone, that they are not together at 1249, correct?
It would be reasonable to me.
And it is reasonable to infer that they would not have been in the same vehicle at 1249. Is that a fair inference?
It is to me. Yes.
Sure enough. Now, the amount of information you have as to Mr. Collins is significantly less than the amount of information you have as to Mr. Booker and to Mr. Hewley. Is that a fair statement?
Very fair.
Now, if we can go to the next slide, I think for Mr. Well, keep going. Here we go. This is the next slide, and this shows us an area, first off, where Mr. Collins' residence is down in the Lithonia area, correct?
Correct. At
And that
10:06.
shows his location, or the phone's location, excuse me, at or about 10:06 in the morning, right?
Correct.
And then there is a second area which is shaded up more towards Peachtree Corners at 11:23 in the morning, correct?
Correct.
Unlike Mr. Booker and Mr. Hewley, there is no virtual path leading from one location to the other. Can we go back to this, why did we go back to the, yeah, there is
No, this is displeasure.
there is no route showing us the path that would have been taken from one location to the next, is there?
Right. There was no data provided for that.
And just so there is no ambiguity whatsoever, looking there, you can see where the Quick Trip is at Peachtree Parkway, right?
Right.
You can see the shaded purple area at 11:23, correct?
Right.
11:23 would have been approximately 75 minutes before the incident in question, correct?
Correct.
While the area, the purple area is obviously somewhat close to the Quick Trip, it does not encompass the Quick Trip, does it?
It does not.
And in fact, there is no phone record from Mr. Collins's phone ever in an area that is, that encompasses the Quick Trip, is there?
I had no data showing that.
Okay. Now, the next thing you got from Mr. Collins is, and if I'm understanding this correctly, let me take a look at my notes. Taking me a minute. Thank you, sir. We'll go to the next one. Here we go. Let me see. Yeah, here we go. 12:51 is the next time you get any sort of information, right?
Correct.
And at 12:51, the shaded area is right here, correct?
Correct.
And that is well into DeKalb County, correct?
Yes,
As you look at the shaded area, you can see Clarkston, correct?
correct,
Scottsdale just on the edge, correct?
correct,
Stone Mountain just on the edge, correct?
correct.
And that would have been approximately 12 to 13 minutes after the incident in question, correct?
Yes,
Good enough, sir. And again, you have no specific route taken by Mr. Collins prior to his 12:51, what was it, a phone call at that time?
phone
Or-
call.
Phone call, okay. There's no indication where he had been immediately prior to 12:51, correct? I mean, obviously at 11,
Can I back up one slide?
sure, go ahead, take your
So
time.
we're at 11:23, and the next thing that will happen is 12:51.
Okay, so between 11:23 and 12:51, there is no record of where he would, or his phone would have been, whether he had his phone or not, right?
There's nothing in the records that gives me any information about what happened.
Okay, so there's just a period of an hour and 28 minutes, I guess, where you have no idea where his phone is, right?
That's correct. Based on the records, I have no information.
Okay.
I don't think I have anything else. Thank you very much, sir.
Ms. Drake?
Your Honor, could we take a 5 minute?
Okay, all right. Let's just take a real quick comfort break.